A little bit of everything podcast. I am doing this podcast for y'all today because I was threatened by a good friend of mine the other day while he was at work bored. The man shall remain nameless. But I was definitely threatened because he was bored at work. I ain't put a podcast out. You feel me? Moe. And basically said if I didn't put the podcast on, he was going to pistol with me on my next podcast. So here I am doing a podcast because I was threatened by a associate of mine, bodily harm, and nobody's going to try to help me. Niggas are probably, record it. Yeah, because niggas y'all ain't cool. Y'all want him to physically harm me if I don't make podcasts to suit his boredom needs when he at work supposed to be working. It ain't my fault it's supposed to rain and they hurrying y'all up so you can't do your job. And now, you feel me, you blame me, Mo. But, it's all good, though. I'm not even, you feel me, I'm not even finna, div-dally too much into it. I'm taking it on the chin. You know what I'm saying? I really want to do a podcast for the people anyway. Nigga didn't have to threaten me. You feel me? I just be working. I got a job like you. I just can't, just do podcasts all the time. Just sit around for your enjoyment while you at work threatening niggas' lives and livelihoods. And I gotta work, bro. You can't be beating me up. A little bit of everything podcast. What's popping with y'all? How y'all doing? Glad to be back in here. You feel me? And who we got president now? Is Biden president finally, or is Trump still holding tight that he got cheated? Huh? Trump. Did y'all expect anything less from Teflon Don, man? Like anything less? Nothing less was to be expected from him. I'm surprised he ain't doing more, but he really feel like he got cheated out of his out of the election. The votes, fake votes, and people that are dead voting for Biden, and he wild, man. He conceding was something he was never going to do in the first place. It was not on his agenda to concede defeat. And even if everything come back after all this, let's say December 15th, it's clear cut. Joe Biden has won the election. Trump's still gonna flip out. He not having it. He not feeling it. No, he don't like losing, man. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's cool, man. Listen, when he first got elected, when Trump first got elected, I was one of the people who kind of felt like maybe it'd be different not having a politician. I said this probably on the last podcast, or maybe the podcast before that. It'd be different not having a politician in there. You feel me? And it failed horribly. So now you got another politician back in there, a vice president at that. Maybe it'll somewhat go back to how it was supposed to go. I don't know if people are expecting him to just. Presidencies don't change over a year or over really one term. It takes time. But you knew Teflon Don wasn't going out. It's gonna be fun, man. He still got 2 months left in there, so we gonna see what he gonna do. What he gonna do? What he gonna do? How he gonna handle it? Cause he gonna make some noise, baby. He gonna make it. He gonna make it. I'm assuming. But so the big topic going on right now for those in the sports world is good old James Harden. And he's trying to basically force his way out of Houston to go play with KD and Kyrie and start his own super. Basically, what he all said was getting on a super team to win a championship. And, I mean, kind of since Bron did that back in 2011, super teams have just kind of been the thing to do. You just put together. Not all teams are some teams have won not being a super team. The Warriors won without being a super team. Then they became a super team once KD got on board. But But that's the way. They kind of feel like that's the best way for them to make their bones and get their championship right now. He even turned down $100 million. So $50 million a year he turned down because he wants to win a championship. And where he is at in Houston, he won't be able to, which is true. And I respect that through and through. Turning the money down to go chase the ring. I don't really have a problem with the super team thing. I mean, players come together to win. You're trying to win. There's not even the whole, well, Jordan didn't do it. All right, he didn't. Players still come together to win. That's the rule. That's how it is. You feel me? And it doesn't even guarantee that they're actually gonna win. It's just that's the movement to try to, And so we'll see how it goes. They gonna want it all for him, though. I know that. It ain't gonna be no just give me a player and we good. Nah, the Rockets gonna try to milk that cow, every dollar and dime of it, because Harden is still one of the top, 10 players in the league. So you gotta get, you gotta get your money's worth for him if you gonna get him. You can't shortchange it. It's gonna be a big trade. It's gonna be a lot to give up to get him. A lot to give up to get him. I can tell you that much. But we'll see where it goes. So I'll be speaking on Mo. A couple of weeks ago, Mo was texting me about. I'm just have to call this episode, something with Mo, something with him, because he just it's just all over him. But he texted me. We were having a conversation about owning a party bus company. Owning a party bus, and he figured I was the best person to ask about it. Oh, for those of you who are wondering what that kind of noise is in the background, if you can't tell exactly what it is, it's rain. And I figure, I'm a soothing ass nigga, so you need soothing ass noises behind you when you hear my soothing ass voice. So I'll put the soothing ass rain on there for you. You're welcome. But so he texted me about the party bus, and he was just asking, or he was just saying, is it a lucrative idea or is it a smart idea? And I told him it's a lucrative idea. It's just a big ass headache. Now, for those of you who don't know, some of you do know. Some of you, I've mentioned it on here before. I used to drive party buses. I used to drive school buses and party buses pretty much at the same time. But I used to drive party buses for about 4 years. And it was a lot of, the money was incredible. But eventually we started having, it was too many incidents on buses with customers. Like it was 2 shootings back to back. It was hella fights. And all of this was occurring over the course of a few months. You feel like my last couple months. Once somebody it was a couple of fights on the bus, my bus, and a couple other people's buses, to the point where police had to come. You feel me? And that was kind of okay. This is, kind of just raise your antenna a little bit. But then once somebody got shot on the bus, I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. And then after my last weekend working, somebody got shot again. Oh, no, the bus got shot up. So I'm like, yeah, it was time to go. And listen, party buses, I'm going to break it down for y'all real quick. So grab your calculators if you got one near you. I'm going to grab mine too, just so I can give you this game in real form. Party buses, I'm going to give y'all the breakdown during prom season, because prom season is really the most lucrative time, right? So on an average, prom season is about from April to maybe June. Okay? So that's 3 months. Now, our company had 5, 6 buses, okay? But let's just do it a bit. On average, you get about 60 people on each bus, right? And they was charging like anywhere from $50 to $80 per person to get on the bus. So, what we gonna? Let's just meet at 70, right? So that's 60 people times $70, right? That's $4,200, right? Now you doing that for 5 buses, so that's 21,000, and you're doing that Friday and Saturday, so that's 42,000, and you doing that. We used to do it. Let's just say 4 times a month. It's 168,000 a month. So you do that times, we'll say 3.5 months. It's $500,000 in 3.5 months. And I say for the rest of the months, because you do wine tours, you do little parties, you do birthdays. So they probably bring in about that. Probably about, same thing. So in a year, you could probably bring in about 1.5 million doing the party bus thing. You know what I'm saying? In 1 year. But I looked up how much one of them buses just itself costs. And we talking about the big ass. Well, back then it was, it's like a big ass Greyhound bus or a big ass like a casino bus, but it's just gutted and flipped all the way out inside. That's really what it is. And buses alone, just a new one or even a used one, when I looked it up, was like $250,000. You feel me? So, and imagine having 5 of those. And when I first got to the party bus company, they had some really older buses. And they used to have to come out, like drive out to where we was at to kind of fix the buses sometimes, because it was either the bus will break down with the people on there, or you drop them off and you gotta like just leg them all the way to wherever they're going, so that one of the owners could come out and fix the buses on the spot. You feel me? When we first started, we had 3 buses, and they was doing that. And we was running them every weekend. They was running them a few times of the week. So it was a lot. So financially, it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, just as an employee, when I was there and seeing, like, you got to be up. You feel me? Probably about $1 million, maybe, before you even get started. Just for insurance purposes, to get you a bus, probably a little bit more. You got to flip the bus and, make it sound good, make it look good inside. Like, it's a lot of money that's already going into it early. And that's just like business side right there. I mean, if you're going to start a business, you're supposed to have a lot of money anyway. You can start small and work your way up, that's fine. But you're going to have, bumps in the road and financial setbacks. And they were in San Diego specifically before they came up to San Francisco. When I got on, they was already up here a year when I got on, but they were in San Diego for like 2 or 3 years. So they had been grinding it out down there. And then they moved up here. And I think the owner, if I'm not mistaken, his parents had died. One of his parents, something had happened. And they left him like a nice lump sum. And so he put the lump sum into, the party bus. And the last time I yelped it was still going on. But, so that's the business side of it. And then you got the customer side. For every good experience, I can name a bad one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had some nights where you get, like, I'll give you an example. You have a night where you pick some kids up, they just want to drive around, party on the bus, get off and sightsee Treasure Island. You feel me? Stop in and out, get some food. You feel me? That's a cool night. You have other nights where kids want to do that exact same thing. We talking about 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. They back there drinking. You feel me? Getting sick, throwing up, trying to hide it. Like, that's all. That's already a problem within itself. You feel me? Underage drinking, a lot could go wrong with that. And so that's one side. Then you do the adults. Like the adults be cool. They be, you pick them up one night, and they just want to go out to eat, maybe hit a couple bars and things of that nature, and that's cool. And then you have other nights where, you feel me, they all piss poor, sloppy drunk. You got people throwing up, wrestling and playing in the back, breaking shit, and fights breaking out between chicks, fights breaking out between boyfriend and girlfriend, fights breaking out between dudes. And the flip side of that part is it's only a $250 deposit if something get broke. So if you break the glass window, it's $250 deposit. I'm pretty sure that glass window can cost a little bit more than $250. The window's big as hell and thick as hell. So, those sides to it. And then even the big ass brawl. We had a brawl so big on the bus one time. I was driving from San Francisco to San Jose. 2:30 in the morning. They fresh out the club. They drunk as hell. They get to Oregon. I get off the freeway. Pull over. Half the bus is outside fighting. We leave like a quarter of the people. The police see it. They just keep going. It was mania as fuck. And then on top of that, like I said, man, you got shootings. They had somebody get on the bus and shoot into the bus. They had somebody outside of the bus shooting. They had one where they was arguing and somebody pulled the strap out and bust the shot out. Again, you make a whole lot of money, but you got a whole lot of other issues. And it's a lot, your insurance got to be right. And while I was there, one of the mechanics died. The bus fell on top of him. You know what I'm talking about? So, it's a lot that go into it. I know every business is going to have its downsides or its stresses, or especially something as big as that. And you dealing with a bunch of, 75% of the time, you're dealing with a bunch of drunk people. 75% of the time. You know what I mean? So, it's, like I said, like I just showed you, in 3 months, you can make $600,000. Probably more than that. And then for the rest of the year, make about $600,000 and $1.5 million. Boom, you're in there. And then, it's a lot of liability stuff, man. It was having to pay money back and take care of them buses, the drivers. Let me tell y'all this story. So, apparently the owner at the time, well, no, he's still an owner, but he was trying to find reasons to take money away from the drivers. So, if they get a complaint or they come back later than expected, or the customer put in for the driver to get a certain amount of tip, and they would only give him less than that. He had some funny ways of doing shit sometimes. And so we all go to dinner. We all at the proms. And then prom tips used to be righteous. Because what I say, $4,200, and your tip would be 10%, so you get $400-500. But so we all sitting at dinner. It's 7 of us, and everybody at the table has a story about the owner somehow for dangling them out of some money, whether it be $200 here, $400 there, $250 here, $150 there. Just just little fadangles out of money that somehow they couldn't get, or paychecks was late, or he gets you on the back end, or just something, always something. And I was the only one who didn't have a story to tell. And everybody just had just kind of looked at me kind of crazy. Like, how do you not have a story to tell? Like, he gets everybody at the table is getting got, but you didn't get got. So a couple weeks later, I end up getting got. I was doing a job, and this used to happen all the time too. Again, buses be breaking down. I was doing a job. I happened to be close to somebody else who was doing the job. They bus broke down. So I dropped my group off, went picked his group up, was with his group the rest of the night, dropped them off, and then went back and got my group and dropped them off. And the lady had said, because it was on her card, and she said that she was going to tip me. She was going to tip the first driver, because it wasn't his fault, but she was going to tip me too, because we came and took care of him while I was still doing something else. So I'm like, all right. And then, so like a week or two go past. And she actually had texted me. And she was like, oh, this is such and such. Remember you picked me up from, when our bus broke down. I'm like, yeah. She was like, did you ever get your tip from it? Because I specifically put in there for you to get one. And I'm like, no, like, it wasn't in the check, because that's normally how they do it. If you don't get the cash, they just put your tip in the check. Whatever, that's cool. So she like, I'm like, nah, I didn't get that. So I hit him, I shoot him a text, and he's like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to put that in your check. I'll take care of you. So about a month go past, it's still nothing. Now, I'm not saying it, I'm just waiting it out. I'm like, all right, I'm still working. It ain't wiggled in yet. So then I'm asked. Then I started hitting him, and he wasn't responding. And then when I would call, he would forward my call to the lady. She was like the secretary. She would plan all of the stuff and book all of the bookings and all that. And so now, it's been 2 months. I ain't got my few little ends and dividends. And I'm like, he keeps sending me to you, like, no disrespect, I don't want to talk to you. That's the man who owed me the money. And she was like, I'll be sure to relay the message. So now, again, it's been like 2 months. So now I just sent him a straight text. I said, hey, man, listen. It's been 2 months. This lady already told me you owe me some money. You feel me? I believe it was like $250 or $200, something like that. Like, this lady told me you owe me some money. You ain't gave me my money. You not answering my phone calls. You call me when you need to talk about something involving something else. But when I need to talk to you about that money, you don't want to answer my phone calls. I said, listen, we can do this one of two ways. I said, we can I can either come down there when you think I don't know you here, and you can pay my money when you see me, or you can just send me my money. I said, it's going to be totally different if I got to come down there. So he texted me back, like, are you threatening me? And I said, you can take out however you want. But I'm telling you, if I have to come see you about that money you owe me, it ain't going to go the right way. The very next day, she had a check cut for me. She had a check cut for me, man. And, you feel me? That was kind of like the start of the trickle-down effect to leaving it. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to run through a lot of drivers. It's a tough business to be in. Especially if you mostly doing parties. If you doing going to Reno and casinos and all that shit, that's a little bit different. But alcoholic beverages in a confined space that's moving is a lot. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people still do party buses. You feel me? The homies did a party bus not too long. Well, before the pandemic, they did a party bus. And, they was on there, had the little stripper bitches on there, and, it was a good time. But, for every good story, it's a bad story. For every movement, you feel me? Moving forward is a step back. So, I'm not saying that to discourage niggas out of doing nothing. It's a lucrative business, man. You can make a lot of money if you got, you feel me, quality drivers, quality business technique, quality buses. You feel me? But just be prepared for them bumps in the road if you gonna do it. If that's an ideal you got in the back of your head and you hear this podcast, this is the game I'm giving you. Because I did it for 4 years. You feel me? I learned a lot about the ins, the outs, and the ups and downs of it. You feel me? Just talking to, because it was 3 of them that had owned it. And, and one of them got married, moved to New York. And then his brother was there for like 2 years. But that's where I really was to pick his brain. Because, you feel me? I kind of wanted to know about it. Like, how it really worked. And, how they was able to wiggle money, extra money out of people. And, all kind of shit. And then he eventually left. And then it was just the main dude who kind of like started it all. Or, was in San Diego with it. But, everything got ups and downs, man. Pick your poison with some stuff. All right, I'll go off this. Now, Nick gave me a variety of questions to play with, right? And again, I got to get some people back on this motherfucker. It'll be difficult, man. I'll be working. But I promise you I'm going to come through on my end of the deal. But this is the question that Nick... Here's the question that Nick sent me. Would you still live in an apartment where you got jumped? Would you still live at an apartment? So if I'm living in an apartment complex, so this would have to be somewhere where it's niggas there. Or it ain't gotta be niggas. It could be white boys that jump you, Asians that jump you. But they are there frequently. I live there. They are there frequently. And basically I'm assuming that we get into it somehow, some way, maybe over a parking stall or the laundry mat or niggas too loud that night or, whatever. And I end up getting jumped. Would I move? I'm not breaking the lease for nothing. Just not doing it. I'm not breaking the lease for nothing. So we just gonna have to figure it out somehow until the lease is up. Listen, I'm a man of peace. But if you ever want to turn a peaceful outing into a brawl, I am all for it. With that being said, if I get jumped, it's going to go down. Oh, it's going to go down big. We ain't even got to go fisticuffs. I mean, we ain't even got to use straps. We can still stay fisticuffs. I'm going to just come back with my people, and we can just have an all-out battle royal. And let's just get it all out the way. I feel like niggas getting jumped, and then the get back would be enough to kind of settle it. You just can't get jumped and then it's over. Y'all, it ain't no more issues after that. That's what we not gonna do. But yeah, I feel like I could still live there. I ain't running from no problems. We just gonna have to figure it out more than once, I guess. If that's what we gotta do, that's what we gotta do. I'm not running from nobody. But yeah, I'm still living there. Yeah, I'm definitely still living there. I'm in the building. I'm in the building for sure. Holla at me every time you see me. And we just got to figure it out every time. They ain't you ever they be I don't want to say they've been, but I've seen people post a picture of a bunch of dudes in front of a front door in a hallway, and they ask these dudes outside, you on your way to this girl house, what you gonna do? And my reply is always, I'm going to walk right past them niggas and say, what's up? You feel me? 9 times out of 10, if you go somewhere for the first time or the second time or whatever, you go to some chick house and this dude's outside, 9 times out of 10, they probably ain't even going to say nothing to you. And you can walk up, and I done been there. I done been deep East Oakland and did this. Vallejo and did this. In the city and did this. You feel me? You bounce out. You walk. They all over there. You either got to walk past them, kind of walk through them. All I say is, what's up? What's up with y'all, bro? What's happening, bro? Keep it pushing. You feel me? It ain't no, I'm feel me? I'm not no disrespectful ass nigga. I never have been. And I always get respected because I'm going to respect y'all movement. I don't need to be tough with niggas I don't know. These niggas don't know me. They don't even care. It's just it's a certain amount of respect you kind of show. You feel me? And it goes both ways. Now, if you jump out on some Billy Badass shit, you going to get your ass kicked. That's just the way that go. But I done been through several versions of that. And every time, I'm jumping out. What's up, bro? What's up with you niggas? Walking right past them, nigga. I done jumped out with several niggas and it's other niggas. And we do the same thing. You just keep it pushing. It's not that big of a deal, in all honesty. So, back to the original question. Yeah, I'm staying. We're going to figure it all out, man. It is what it is. We could be cool after we get back, or we can keep going. You feel me? But I ain't moving to that lease up. And that's that. On that. Before I fly up out of here, I want to talk to my Niner fans. Because I know riding high off the going to the bowl, being the best team last year, and the Super Bowl hangover is real. It just is. Some teams, it's rare that a team loses and bounces back. And I think the Patriots are the only team that did that. But it's rare. It's not a normal occurrence for you to lose and then you bounce back. You either don't make the playoffs or you make the playoffs and you get bounced early. I want to just pump the brakes on let's get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand that he hasn't looked great. But he looked good enough last year for y'all to feel like y'all had the greatest quarterback ever. Not the greatest quarterback ever, but he looked good enough to get the Niners to the playoffs. And it's not like the Niners got to the playoffs in spite of Jimmy G. They got there because he was a good quarterback. He wasn't perfect, but he was a good quarterback. He made a lot of plays to help that team win a lot of games. It's not like they was just riding the running backs and riding the defense, and that's how they won. Got to the Super Bowl. He been hurt, and I know he wasn't playing great before they sat him down. But you gotta give him a chance, man. He last year was his first full season, I believe, because the first year that they got him, he got hurt. And then last year was his first full season. They went to the Super Bowl. And I'm just like, you just got to the Super Bowl. They got a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball. I think before you decide to just ask him, because you don't owe him no money. I believe if you cut him, because he's going to make, I think, 30 or 40 million. But if you cut him, I think you only like 2 million hit against you. So, no, I think it's 48 over the next 2 years he could get. But if you cut him, your cap hit is only 2 million. So I ain't really in football terms. That's a good hit. But he just got you to the bowl. He was hurt the year before. He just got you to the bowl. He's been hurt this year. I think you owe him at least one more year before you decide, you know what, we're not going to do it now. Or you could restructure his deal and keep him. And I wouldn't say draft a quarterback, because drafting a quarterback pretty much means you're getting ready to move on from the quarterback you have. But you could pick up a free agent in the offseason or one that is pretty good, serviceable, and in case Jimmy G don't work, you fill this next guy in and move forward. But just dumping him or trying to get rid of him, and who's the next quarterback you gonna get? If you cut Jimmy G at the end of this season, who you gonna get? It's not a lot of options out there like that. Not a plethora of quarterbacks that you can just plug in and it's going to be, it's just going to work. You probably have to draft one and then maybe go from there. But if you cut them, the Niners are probably going to finish in the middle of the pack. So they're probably going to end up with like a top 15 pick. Maybe a late teen pick. And you're not going to... good quarterbacks don't always fall that low. Sometimes you get lucky and get you a great quarterback in the second round. But good quarterbacks are rarely found late in the first round. How comfortable are you going to be just sticking a brand new quarterback in there right after? So it's tough times, but I think they'll be right back to normal next season, fully healthy, new good players. I say you let Jimmy G ride it out one more year. And if it don't work, then it's time to move forward. But you definitely get you a serviceable backup this offseason. Don't throw the whole tray away. You know what I'm saying? Because one shrimp was a little bit tougher than all the rest. Like, wait it out, man. That's what this is all about. I could see if you was trying to get to a Super Bowl, never been to one, haven't been to one, and boom, now you are like, you need it. Just got to one. Everybody got hurt. You come back next year. You put the thing back together as strong as possible. I truly believe they're going to be a top 3 or 4 team next year. Because they lost so many of their great players. And everybody going to come back. And you're going to come back with some draft picks. And you're going to pick up some more players. And they're going to be scary next year. But you got to give Jimmy G the benefit of the doubt. A little bit. Let him ride this out. Let's see how it go. But that's just my take on that, And a little bit of everything podcast, man. You know what I mean? We back in the building, man. We gonna we gonna do what we gonna do. Shout out to Moe P for again forcing me, threatening my life, livelihood, limbs, things of that nature. Yeah, straight like that, man. And that's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got, man. A little bit of everything podcast. I'll let you on the flip side. Peace.